Hey everybody, welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on youtube.com/NoDQ&AV and of course, NoDQ.com. WWE Over the Limit is this Sunday live on pay-per-view. You can check out the coverage at NoDQ.com. But for now, let's get to your questions. Hey Aaron, great show. Thank you. Has WWE gotten rid of the WWE Draft? It usually happens after Mania, but has not been mentioned at all. I believe the original plan was for the draft to take place on one of the 3-hour Raws back in April, and WWE ended up postponing it. And perhaps at this point, they've decided to downplay the brand extension, and perhaps it'll be gone in a couple of months. I mean, the fact is, you have the Raw Super Show where a lot of the SmackDown guys are on the Raw Super Show, and SmackDown hasn't really had that much emphasis put on it in recent months. I mean, it feels like a quarter of the show at least is just recaps from Raw. And then you got the 3-hour Raws coming up, so there'll probably be even more SmackDown talent on Raw. So, I mean, in my opinion, they should either go all the way doing a brand extension or just get rid of it completely. Just doing it the way it is now, there's really no purpose. And I could still see them doing another draft maybe if they feel desperate enough to try to pop a rating. I mean, that's usually the purpose in doing those draft shows is to get the rating. But that was back when they were doing a 3-hour Raw as a special occasion. And since they're going to be doing it full time now, I mean, there's really no point to try to pop a rating for 1 week. So I won't be surprised if it doesn't happen at all. Do you think the WWE will say that if Over the Limit does well, it's because of Cena Laurinaitis, and if it fails, they will blame CM Punk and Daniel Bryan? Please answer in video. Well, yeah, I think if you go back to Survivor Series and the fact that buy rate was disappointing, who got the blame for that? Not The Rock, not John Cena, but The Miz and R-Truth, and we've seen what happened to The Miz in recent months. So let's put it this way. Over the Limit, more than likely, is not going to do well on pay-per-view. And, yeah, I mean, if it does poorly, which it probably will, I'm sure there'll be people in WWE that say, oh, it's just the fact that CM Punk is not a draw as champion. And Daniel Bryan doesn't belong in the main event. So I could very well see some people in WWE claiming that. And it's unfortunate, but, I mean, everyone should know that Over the Limit is a throwaway pay-per-view, and it's not going to do very well to begin with. But I'm sure WWE always has these expectations where they think it's going to do really well. And Vince McMahon probably thinks that people want to see John Laurinaitis in a pay-per-view main event. So I don't know. But yeah, I don't think it's going to do it. Hey Aaron, I like the opening for NoDQ&A video number 141. Thank you. You should stick with that. That's the plan. What are your thoughts on Undertaker and Kane being the longest and most successful wrestlers with a cartoonish gimmick? In 2012 and beyond, can that formula work again? Gratitude. Absolutely. I think that if you have a character that people connect with, and you know, it's something where you have to experiment with it. I mean, I don't think Undertaker and Kane were expected to last as long as they did. When Undertaker came in, I'm sure some people thought he was just another gimmick, and it was just another gimmick by WWE. But it ended up catching on with the audience, and Undertaker became one of the most memorable characters in the history of the company. And with one success, they've had a ton of failures. I mean, Papa Shango was a bomb. Mantar was a bomb. Mordecai. I mean, all those gimmicks were similar, like these dark gothic-like characters, and they flopped. Not really sure Mantar was a gothic character. I don't know what the hell that gimmick was. And then, of course, same thing with Kane. I think Kane was only brought in to be another opponent for The Undertaker, another storyline for The Undertaker, and the character really caught on, and he stuck around. So it's all a matter of just experimenting, trying different things, and some things will catch on, some things won't. But yeah, I do see other characters like that, like Undertaker and Kane, sometime down the line. Do you think The Rock really will win the title again because of his movie schedule? And being champion would probably mean he would have to wrestle a lot more, meaning more commitment. Well, I don't think he's going to be wrestling more. I still think he'll be a part-time wrestler. The thing is, if and when he wins the WWE title, which I think is a when at this point, not an if. He said his goal is to win the title, so I suspect it's going to happen. I don't think he's going to be a long-term champion. I think he'll either win at the Royal Rumble and then he'll be champion leading up to WrestleMania, and he doesn't need to wrestle. He could just make the TV appearances, or he can win the title at WrestleMania and then relinquish it or lose it the next night. They could do some kind of storyline where he loses it right away. But he doesn't need to be a long-term champion. I don't suspect he'll be a long-term champion. He'll win the title, then they'll do some sort of storyline for him to lose it, and that'll be the end of it. But, I mean, just to say he won the title one more time is something that I fully expect to happen. Dear Aaron, I can understand the lack of superstars as a reason for WWE/F, it's not F anymore, bro, not being the same as before, but what is the excuse of bad storylines? The excuse is, I think that, number one, you're hiring people from Hollywood who don't really have the knowledge of wrestling. They're not very passionate about the product. So you're bringing in these outsiders, and they're trying to write Hollywood soap opera storylines, and they're not really fans. So I mean, to present a great product, you need to like what you're writing about. And the other thing is, I think when you have so many people on a creative team, that it's hard to go in one solid direction. I mean, the one thing I'll say about Vince Russo is, and I agree with him on this, is that he should be the one guy to be able to make the final decisions with the storylines. Whether they're good or not, you need to have one person's vision that can come up with these long-term storylines. And that's another thing, too, is the fact that they don't do long-term planning with storylines. They come up with an idea, and then they change it. And they change it if a spoiler gets out on the internet, or they change it if just Vince McMahon changes his mind about something. And that's not good. And that was the thing with Vince Russo. One of the reasons he left, because they were starting to bring in more people into the creative team, and then WWE actually brought him back very briefly in 2002, and he quit again because there were just so many people on a creative team, and it was just too difficult to try to get your stories across. So it's a combination of all those things, and I mean, hopefully it'll improve. It's always been one of the biggest problems with not just WWE but TNA as well, is the storylines just aren't that strong. For me personally, I would like to see logical storylines that have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and something that will progress over several months, so you have time to get emotionally invested into it. And if something leaks on the internet, so be it. Just stick to your guns and do the storyline. Tell the story without making all these changes and trying to swerve people just for the sake of swerving people. So that's my thoughts. What is your ideal match card for this year's SummerSlam and WrestleMania 29? All right, let's start off with SummerSlam. Obviously, Brock Lesnar versus Triple H. Don't do it at No Way Out. It should be at one of the big pay-per-views. Brock Lesnar should be at the major pay-per-views. I think you water him down when you put him on the secondary shows. I mean, Extreme Rules was enough. Save him for SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and then WrestleMania. So, do the Brock Lesnar versus Triple H match. So where does that leave everybody else? I'd like to see The Rock at SummerSlam. I think it's unlikely because of his movie commitments, but I'd love to see The Rock in there. Who's his next opponent? He already faced Cena. I mean, I guess you could do Rock versus Cena 2 at Staples Center. I mean, that would be really cool. But I'd like to see The Rock versus Randy Orton. Third generation star versus third generation star. Do that at SummerSlam. I wouldn't do Rock versus CM Punk just yet, especially if Rock is winning the title. I would put that off a little bit longer. But do Rock versus Orton, and then that leaves CM Punk, and I guess you could do John Cena, CM Punk versus John Cena one more time, which I wouldn't mind since you have the other two matches to fill up the card. And maybe you could add a stipulation to it or something to escalate it from the previous year's match. And then as far as WrestleMania 29 goes, I said this before, I would like to see Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. And then have Steve Austin come back. Steve Austin versus CM Punk. Get that match out of the way that we've been wanting to see for all these years now. And then that leaves you with Rock versus Cena. Now, here is my idea. I talked about this earlier. Maybe having The Rock win the title at the Royal Rumble, and then they could do Rock versus Cena 2 and let Cena get his win back. I know that wouldn't be popular with some people, but that way Cena can get his win back and get the title, and then you end that storyline with Rock and Cena. So if it was me, that's what I would do. What's your opinion? You guys leave me a comment on YouTube. What's your dream card for SummerSlam and WrestleMania 29? Leave your thoughts, and keep subscribing, keep spreading the word, and we'll see you next time for No DQ&A video.